everybody. Today I am going to show you how to make homemade sourdough bread from a starter. I received this starter about 22 years ago from my husband's grandmother in Waynesville, North Carolina, and I've been feeding the starter and making bread ever since. So this is the starter right here. I can't tell you how to create it, I can only give you some. And then you can feed it and you can make your own bread. So this is how you feed it. I take 3 tablespoons of instant plain potato flakes. I put them in the starter. I take 3/4 of a cup of sugar. I add it to the starter. I take 1 cup of warm water and I add it to the starter. And what will happen is the potato flakes, the sugar, and the water will sit for approximately 8 to 12 hours and it will activate and bubble. So after I mix it up with my knife, I cover the starter loosely like that and I let it sit for 12 hours. So after I feed the starter, what I like to do is I like to use this very big bowl and I add all of the dry ingredients into the big bowl. So I take a 1/2 cup of sugar, one tablespoon of salt, and then I use 3 cups of bread flour. You can use any kind of bread flour that you like. I just use King Arthur's bread flour, but anything you find that you like, organic, gluten-free, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I do 3 cups of bread flour, and I use a knife to flatten it. I always use 3 cups of bread flour. And then I sometimes get creative with the other 3 cups of flour. Today, I'm just using 3 cups of whole wheat flour. But in the past, I might do a cup of oatmeal and then 2 cups of wheat flour. It just depends what I feel like. But today, I'm using 3 cups of whole wheat flour. If you want to use white flour, you can use 3 cups of white flour. It doesn't really matter. But the bottom line is you need 6 total cups of flour, with 3 being the bread flour. So after you have it all in the bowl, you mix it up and you just let it sit until the starter's activated. Hi, so now after 12 hours, our starter has activated and it looks like that. So as soon as that is ready, we're going to go back to our dry ingredients. We're going to add a 1/2 cup of canola oil. We're going to add a 1.5 cups of hot water. And we're going to add a cup of starter. I take a clean knife, stir it together, and then I make 1 cup of starter, a big cup, a gracious cup, okay? And that's it. And then I mix it together. I make sure all of the wet ingredients combine with the dry ingredients. I use a large spoon to do this, and I leave nothing dry. Everything is incorporated. It's very important because it will rise together like this, that you use a big enough bowl and you really make sure you get it mixed correctly now, because you can't mix it later. It all has to be done right this minute while everything is activated together. Okay. And that's it. So as soon as, and it looks like this, you can use your hands if you want to. I prefer not to. Just because you never know what you're touching, even if your hands are clean. Okay, so that's basically it right there. And then I add all of the spoon like that. And then what I do is I take saran wrap here. I cover this back up and I put it back in the refrigerator. Now this starter can stay in the refrigerator for 2 to 3 weeks, but you must feed it every 2 to 3 weeks, even if you don't make bread. You can let it activate and then take a cup out and just throw it away, or give it to a neighbor. So I take 2 pieces of saran wrap, I cover it like this, pretty tightly, and then I take a clean towel and I put it over it. This is to create a humid type of atmosphere. The other thing you can do if your bread is not rising, you can take a cup of steaming water from the microwave, you can put it in the oven on a low shelf, keep the oven light on, and put the bread in a cool oven with the oven light on and a cup of steamed water. And that should help create the humidity that the bread needs to rise. So we're gonna leave this bread rise, I would probably say, since it's super warm out today, for about 8 hours, but however long it takes, it doesn't matter. Sometimes it takes 2 days. We're gonna wait until it has risen, and then we're gonna move all of the bread into 3 loaf pans. Until then, okay, so now if you take a look at the bread, you can see that it has risen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 9x5 bread pans that I have already sprayed, and I'm going to put all of this bread into 3 even bread pans. Okay, I'm gonna make 1 loaf of plain, and I'm gonna make 2 loaves of cinnamon. So I'm gonna, after my hands are, which I've already washed, I'm going to take 1/3 of this right out of this bowl, make sure I get everything from the sides, and I'm gonna put that in this bread pan. Then I'm going to take the rest of the batter, the dough, and I'm gonna make into 2 equal piles. You can see what I'm doing in the pan. I'm spreading it out like this, and I'm making sure I have all of the dough here. Then I'm taking light brown sugar, and I'm putting it on each of the loaves of dough, and then I'm going to spread it out like this. Are you getting that? So I'm putting this like this. I'm spreading out the brown sugar, just like that. And you can use as much as you want. It doesn't really matter, there's no set amount. Then I'm taking cinnamon, any kind of cinnamon is fine, and then I'm putting the cinnamon over the brown sugar. Again, any amount is fine, it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to take each loaf and kind of fold it up together. I'm going to take it out and put it into each pan like that. I'm going to do the same for this side. I'm just sort of folding it up like that and putting it here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it again with saran and the towel, and I'm going to wait about, I don't know, 7 or 8 hours until it rises. Okay? So now the bread is ready to put in the oven. You can see how it has risen. I'm going to take off the saran wrap, and my oven is preheated at 325, and I'm going to bake this for 30 minutes. I'm going to put it on the top rack and set the timer. So the bread is ready, and you can smell it from down the block. Here's what it looks like as we take it out of the oven.